I used to think work affairs were something that happened to other people, lonely executives and happy assistants, people living double lives. Not me. Not as. Lisa and I had been married 8 years, steady as clockwork. We had 2 kids, a mortgage, and a rhythm that felt unbreakable. My life ran on rails: morning coffee, commute, meetings, deadlines, home. But that October, the office decided to throw a Halloween party to celebrate the success of our biggest campaign yet. It was supposed to be harmless, just a night of cheap drinks, bad costumes, and awkward laughter under orange lights. That's where I met the version of myself I didn't know existed. The week leading up to the party was chaos. Late nights, tight revisions, endless pressure. My coworker, Megan, and I had been paired for the final push, 2 designers drowning in caffeine and shared exhaustion. She was sharp, quick with sarcasm, the kind of woman who laughed at her own stress just to survive it. Married too, I'd learned. That somehow made it feel safe to joke with her, to vent, to stay in the same room after hours without feeling like it meant anything. Then came Friday night, the Halloween party itself. The office had been transformed. Fake cobwebs on monitors, carved pumpkins glowing from the break room counters, strobe lights flickering off staplers and keyboards. Everyone wore something ridiculous. I went as a lazy cowboy, half committed with a hat and flannel shirt. Megan, though, she went all in. A witch. Not the cartoon kind, no green face or plastic broom. A real one, dark dress hugging every line of her, smoky eyes, lips black as ink. When she walked in, the room shifted. Conversation slowed. Even I felt it in my chest. That stupid quick heartbeat that felt both familiar and forbidden. She found me near the punch bowl. Cowboy, she smirked, tilting her head. Didn't expect you to commit to the theme. And you did. I shot back, smiling too easily. We laughed. God, we laughed too much that night. She was magnetic, close enough that her perfume clung to my shirt, distant enough that I told myself it was harmless. A coworker. Just fun. Then the lights dimmed for the costume contest. Someone yelled for music. The playlist turned sultry 80s, synth, and low bass, and people began dancing. Megan pulled me toward the center of the room, hand warm, grip firm. My heart did something strange, like it was trying to escape my ribs. Relax, she said. It's just a dance. It wasn't. Not when she looked at me like that. Not when her body brushed against mine, slow, confident, deliberate. My wedding ring suddenly felt heavier than the hat on my head. I stepped back, forcing a laugh to break the tension. She smiled knowingly. Scared of a little fun? Just remembering who's waiting for me at home. Her smile faded, but only for a second. Then she said softly, "Must be nice." Something cracked inside me right then. I didn't know it, but the night had already started to slide off the rails. The music thumped, the lights blurred, and every boundary I'd ever trusted started to bend. I wish I could say I left right then, that I walked out into the cold October air, called my wife, and drove home to my sleeping kids. But I didn't. I stayed. I stayed because it felt easier to pretend this was nothing, just coworkers letting loose after weeks of pressure. That's how every story like mine starts. With lies so small you can whisper them over the music and still believe them. After midnight, most people had gone. The floor was littered with plastic cups and candy wrappers. The music was lower now, slower. Megan sat on my desk, her legs crossed, hat tilted low. "You worked hard," she said, swirling her drink. "You deserve a break." Her voice had changed, softer, dangerous. I sat beside her, stupidly close. "You think this counts as a break?" She leaned in. "Depends what you want it to be." That line should have terrified me. It did, in some far-off logical part of my brain. But the rest of me, the tired and appreciated, attention-starved part, was too caught up in her eyes. My wife hadn't looked at me like that in years. Not out of cruelty. Just time, distance, parenthood, life. But Megan looked at me like I was still someone worth wanting. The office lights flickered, and somewhere down the hall, a pumpkin candle spattered out. It felt like the world was shrinking, just her, me, and the hum of fluorescent light. When she touched my hand, I didn't pull away. When she traced her fingers along my wrist, I didn't stop her. "Do you ever get tired of being good?" she whispered. That question hit me like a dart to the chest. Before I could answer, she kissed me. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't cinematic. It was messy, warm, desperate. Real. I tasted her lipstick, the bitterness of cheap rum, the guilt already rising in my throat. For 1 second, I didn't care. I kissed her back. And then I did care, because I saw my reflection in the glass wall of the conference room, my hat crooked, my wedding ring glinting under neon light. I looked like a stranger. I pulled away. We can't. She stopped me with a look. No one has to know. That phrase felt like a trapdoor opening under me. I grabbed my jacket, muttered something about being late, and left the office. Outside, the night was freezing. Halloween decorations fluttered on the street, lamps, ghosts, skeletons, hollow-eyed masks grinning down. I stood there for a full minute, breathing in the cold, trying to shake off what had just happened. The next morning, my wife found lipstick on my collar. It was faint, barely visible, but she noticed. She laughed it off, teasing, "Office witch is casting spells again." I laughed too. My throat was dry. That night, Megan texted me, "You forgot something." Attached was a photo, her witch hat, sitting on my desk. That's when the panic truly started. Not because of what had happened, but because I suddenly wanted it to happen again. For 2 days, I couldn't focus. Every time I sat at my desk, that damn witch hat stared at me. Megan had left it there on purpose, like a trophy or a dare. Nobody in the office said a thing, but I caught her looking at me across meetings, her expression calm, certain, dangerous. At home, Lisa noticed I was distant. She asked if I was tired. I said it was just the campaign. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and went back to folding laundry. Her trust made me sick. Every word she said felt like a weight pressing on my chest. By Friday, the silence between Megan and me was unbearable. We stayed late again. Another deadline, another excuse. The office was half dark, just the glow of monitors and the faint orange light of leftover decorations. I tried to focus on my screen, but she came over, leaned on the desk beside me, and said, "You still have my hat. I'll give it back." I muttered, "I don't want it back," she said, and her voice cracked like a match in the dark. When she kissed me again, I didn't fight it. Not this time. The guilt that had held me back earlier was gone, burned away by loneliness, by exhaustion, by everything I'd been pretending was fine. We didn't even make it out of the office. Just the two of us, in a space that still smelled like pumpkin spice and printer ink, destroying everything that used to make sense. When it was over, she looked at me with those dark eyes and whispered, "No one ever needs to know, but the thing about secrets, they rot. They eat through everything good until all that's left is the lie." The next morning, Lisa was making pancakes with the kids when I came downstairs. My son was wearing a little ghost costume. My daughter was painting a paper pumpkin. It should have been a perfect Saturday, but I couldn't even meet their eyes. That night, I told her everything. I don't even know why. Maybe because I couldn't stand to see her laugh anymore. Maybe because some part of me wanted punishment more than forgiveness. She didn't scream, didn't cry. She just went quiet, the kind of silence that feels colder than any shout. Then she said, "Get out." 2 words. No second chances. No bargaining. I packed a bag and left. Halloween decorations still hung from the houses on our street. Kids were out trick-or-treating, their laughter echoing through the night while my world fell apart. I sat in my car, hands shaking, staring at my reflection in the window. I thought about Megan, about the hat, about everything I'd thrown away for a few hours of feeling seen. And for the first time, I realized what the real curse of that night was. It wasn't the guilt. It wasn't losing my wife. It was knowing that, deep down, a part of me wanted to believe it hadn't been a mistake. I drove off with the witch hat on the passenger seat, the last reminder of who I'd been and what I'd destroyed trying to feel alive again.